Welcome into BPN Fantasy, everybody. My name is Benson Fector, and I'll be the host of the Baseball Podcast Network's weekly fantasy baseball show. I apologize for not being able to be with you last week, but we are back and better than ever with episode number 2. And a very happy Father's Day to all the fathers listening, live or archived. We appreciate you no matter where you're listening, father, grandfather, godfather, father figure, no matter what. If you've been a father to somebody in their life, we appreciate it and we thank you on this Father's Day. Huge thank you to all the fathers out there and some very cool things that the baseball players did on this Father's Day to pay tribute to their dads who really, a lot of them taught them the game of baseball and showed them how awesome and beautiful this game is, this game that we are about to talk to for the next hour. So settle in, fantasy baseball players. We got a lot of fantasy coming up in the next hour. Every baseball player's goal heading into a season is to get things started on the right foot. Whether it's at the plate or on the mound, actually putting up numbers builds confidence with the majority of a 162-game schedule staring them in the face. Baseball is a fickle game, though, and a hot start doesn't guarantee a dang thing. The following 6 players all enjoyed a strong March and April, but they haven't experienced the same type of success since. Does that mean they're performing badly now? Not necessarily. A handful of them are still above average when looking at their season-long numbers. This is just an exercise to point out that you never know about the great start they experienced by looking at their current cumulative numbers. Let's take a look at our first guy that has cooled down. Tim Beckham, Seattle Mariners. WRC plus through April 30th, 139. WRC plus since May 1st, 62. Beckham was an intriguing story through the season's first month. Did things just start clicking for the former top overall pick? It certainly appeared that way as he hit for a 282 average, 352 BP, and a 527 slugging, with 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, and 19 runs scored. Things have spiraled out of control for the infielder since the calendar flipped to May, unfortunately. In addition to his 62 WRC plus entering Wednesday's action, Beckham is hitting for a 186 average, a 205 OBP, and a 419 slugging over his most recent 88 plate appearances. That has included another 5 homers and 14 RBIs, but it's also been accompanied by a 1.1% walk rate and 31.8% strikeout rate. The biggest change has been what his batted ball profile looks like between these two periods of time. At the end of April, Beckham owned a 16.4% soft hit rate and 37% hard hit rate, which meshed well with a 23.3% line drive rate. Since then, his soft contact 34.5% has easily outpaced his hard contact 27.6%. His line drives have disappeared 6.9%. And the difference has gone to his ground ball rate, 43.8% to 60.3%. Let's take a look at our next player on this list. Joe Musgrove, Pittsburgh Pirates. ERA through April 30th, 1.54. ERA since May 1st, 6.98. The Pirates entered Wednesday's action as a last-place team in the National League Central while boasting one of the senior circuit's worst run differentials. Musgrove hasn't necessarily been an asset in Pittsburgh's efforts to compete following a strong April. Through the season's first month, he did a good job of limiting base runners, 5.2% walk rate, 0.89 whip, suppressing home runs, 0.26 home runs per 9, and stranding runners who did reach base 72.8% of the time. None of those things have gone as well since the start of May. His 7.5% walk rate isn't horrendous, but his 1.47 whip and 1.4 home runs per 9 are both big increases, while his 51.4% strand rate is obviously a huge decrease. No wonder he's given up nearly 7 runs per 9 innings pitched over his last 38 and 2/3 frames. What's interesting here, though, is the usage of his slider, curveball, and changeup have all taken a noticeable step back. Musgrove's usage rate for each offering has gone down at least 3 percentage points. This has happened despite them being the only pitches in his arsenal to produce an opponent WRC plus below 100. They're all below 75. Our next player on this list is Christian Walker, Arizona Diamondbacks. WRC plus through April 30th, 154. WRC plus since May 1st, 71. Jake Lamb hitting the injury list gave Walker an opportunity to play, and he took full advantage in April. The 28-year-old mostly wowed with his hard hit rate, which stood at a ridiculously nice 69.1% at the end of the month. Entering Wednesday's action, it comes down to a much more normal 38.1% rate since the start of May. It seems as if the law of averages has caught up to him in the process, though. His BABIP has gone from a sky-high 393 mark to 271 over these two time periods. You'd also think he'd have a better than a 333 WRC plus on line drives with a 76.5% hard hit rate for this specific batted ball event. He's even swinging less often at balls out of the strike zone, 30.4% to 28%, as well as chasing after strikes more often, 73.3% to 82.6%. Opposing pitchers have thrown fastballs at 10 percentage point increase between those two periods, though. Walker has performed well against that pitch, but not as well as you'd think for someone who initially had ridiculous quality of contact numbers, a 234 average, 359 OBP, 519 slugging with a 134 WRC plus against four-seamers. Having a 23.8% infield fly rate against this pitch also doesn't help a ton. Our next player on this list of players is Aaron Sanchez, Toronto Blue Jays. ERA through April 30th, 2.32. ERA since May 1st, 5.71. This certainly wasn't a surprise, since we named Sanchez as one of baseball's worst starting pitchers through the end of April. That was because his 2.32 ERA was accompanied by a 5.45 SIERA. And it looks as if regression came quickly for the right-hander. His last 41 innings have included 6 losses and 8 starts and no wins, along with a 17.7% strikeout rate, 10.4% walk rate, and 5.04 SIERA. And it's also worth noting that his BABIP allowed has jumped over 100 points. 241 in April, 344 since May 1st. This has all happened despite raising his ground ball rate 48.1% to 52.2% and his soft hit rate 14.8% to 23.1%. Entering this year, Sanchez had never thrown his curveball more than 16.6% of the time, but that number is currently up at 23.1%. The results have been stellar. Plate appearances ending with that pitch have produced a 4.2% walk rate, 40.3% strikeout rate, and a 26 WRC plus. The problem is his four-seamer and sinker, both pitches have produced a walk rate above 13% with at least a 160 WRC plus against. Not good stuff from Aaron Sanchez. Next player is Jason Hayward, Chicago Cubs. WRC plus through April 30th of 143, WRC plus since May 1st, 80. Between 2017 and 2018, Hayward hit just 19 home runs and 970 plate appearances. Through 250 trips to the plate in 2019, he's already smacked 10 dingers. However, his production has been a little uneven, as we can see from the above numbers. The power hasn't dropped off too substantially, 5 homers in each period of time, but his plate discipline numbers have changed drastically. After having a higher walk rate, 16.8%, than strikeout rate, 13.9% through the end of April, those numbers have flipped. 10.7% walk rate, 18.8% strikeout rate since the start of May. Those latest numbers aren't terrible, and he even saw improvements in his hard hit rate, line drive rate, and ground ball rate during this time. Unfortunately, his BABIP took a dive from 303 to 240. He's also been chasing balls more often, swinging at strikes less often and making less contact in general, 84.7% to 79.6%. And our last player on this list of guys is Marco Gonzalez, Seattle Mariners. ERA through April 30th, 2.80. ERA since May 1st, 7.11. Gonzalez's year, and Beckham's for that matter, has been a microcosm of the Mariners' overall performance. Seattle finished April with an 18-14 mark, but entered Wednesday's action with a 28-42 mark. Yikes. The left-hander outperformed his March-April peripherals by a wide margin, 4.56 SIERA, but that's to be expected since he's not the type of pitcher to rack up a ton of strikeouts. Controlling the zone is more crucial to his success, which he hasn't been doing lately. Gonzalez's walk rate went from 4.9% at the end of April to 9% since the start of May. Allowing more base runners makes it even more important to strand as many as possible, and he's done the opposite. His strand rate has gone from 74.3% to an atrocious 48%. The usage of his cutter has also gone down about 5 percentage points between these periods of time. But so is the value according to Fangraphs, 2.80 at the end of April, negative 2.96 since May 1st. Houston Astros outfielder Yordan Alvarez has not even been in the minor leagues for a week, but he looks like a fantastic hitter with staying power, as if the statistics do not bear this out. As of this show, Alvarez remains available in more than 50% of ESPN standard leagues, though that number will likely adjust soon. Whatever the case, if there is one player to recommend this week, it is Alvarez. The American League boasts 3 rookie hitters capable of amazing things, and Alvarez belongs in the conversation with Toronto's Vladimir, Guerrero Jr. and White Sox slugger Eloy Jimenez. Welcome to another episode of BPN Weekly, as we go position by position to find the fantasy hitters and pitchers who deserve more attention, along with others who, well, do not. Some ask why things change in this show's entry, as if I need another week to see Atlanta's Dansby Swanson hit, or Cincinnati's Joey Votto not hit. Well, yes, we change our minds all the time. Don't you do the same thing when it comes to adding and dropping players? With that in mind, here we go. Feel free to share your thoughts in our chat room as well. Corner infielders. Barely over 50%, mixed league, must add Daniel Vogelbach, Mariners, CJ Cron, Twins, Matt Olson, Athletics. Below 50%, must add. I still think Tampa Bay's Yandy Diaz can hit close to 300 with more than 25 home runs, which means he is really underrated right now. Other than that, the corner infield positions I like to this degree also play middle infield, so they'll go in that section. Worth adding. I suppose it makes sense to add Pittsburgh's Colin Moran and the Mets' Todd Frazier while they're performing well, in case it sticks. Still, I think we know this ends with a 2 for 20 stretch and you cutting them. That's okay. You can stream your corner infield spot, but just like any other spot. Mixed league stash. Tampa Bay's Ji-Man Choi fits this narrative, but his numbers are similar to those of Moran. Kansas City's Chester Cuthbert is doing things, but injured Hunter Dozier should push him aside soon. Detroit's Brandon Dixon has upside, but we would like to see a little bit more consistency. Drop him. I do not see Joey Votto turning his season around like Matt Carpenter did in 2018. Sorry. It's a costly one here. I also believe parting with Atlanta's Josh Donaldson is unlikely to result in him making you really pay for it statistically. He just looks so average. As always, do not drop players just for the sake of it. There has to be somebody worth adding who is better. Don't drop him. Matt Carpenter, Cardinals. Hunter Dozier, Royals. Ranger slugger Joey Gallo needs to be rostered in all leagues, but alas, thanks to his IL stint, he is not. Middle infielders. Barely over 50% mixed league must add Didi Gregorius Yankees, Jeff McNeil Mets, Derek Dietrich Reds. Below 50% must add. It's a big week for the middle infield eligible set. It took a while, but I'm wholeheartedly recommending Nationals hitter Howie Kendrick. He did not hit like this for the first decade of his career, but he clearly figured something out. Tampa Bay's Brandon Lowe is hitting for both power and average, unlike the struggling Michael Chavis of Boston. I think each should be rostered across the board. Philadelphia's Scott Kingery has some batting average correction coming, but the power-speed combo is very real, and he's playing regularly. This is a good thing this year. Worth outing. Cubs infielder David Bote is going to keep playing, and he is more of a hitter than a defender. 20 home runs are reachable. Milwaukee's Travis Shaw got a lot of grease for his first 2 months, but we know he has power. Keston Hiura investors in redraft formats should move on. We have no idea when Hiura returns. We do think San Diego rookie Luis Urias will get the call soon, and he is a lot like Hiura. Mixed league stash. Urias and Hiura for sure, and while I understand moving on from Colorado's Brendan Rodgers because his manager simply will not play him against right-handers, I bet we hear from him statistically this summer. Stash, but do not activate him yet. Drop him. Well, that did not take long with Toronto's Kevin Biggio. Hey, what did you really expect? I would rather stash his colleague Bo Bichette, now healthy, in case he gets the call. He's a superior prospect. After his latest injury, Robinson Cano is like Votto to me now. It just is not happening. Even when healthy, Detroit's versatile Nico Goodrum will not hit for average. The Angels' David Fletcher has been hurt, but I'll